What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This your boy Kangaroo Black coming back once again. It's time for Kangaroo's top 5 SEC rankings after week 9. I haven't done this in about 2 weeks now, so of course things can change. I'm gonna just go ahead and get right into the video. And coming in at number 5, I have a tie between my Alabama Crimson Tide and the LSU Tigers. But of course, this will all work itself out next week when my Alabama Crimson Tide goes on the road to face those LSU Tigers, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Death Valley, baby. So yes, next week we'll know, where these teams will be in my rankings or which one will fall out. But as of right now, I got these two teams tied. Both of them got 2 losses. My Alabama Crimson Tide got losses to Vanderbilt and Tennessee, and LSU got losses to USC, which is out of conference, and to Texas A&M, which they lost to Texas A&M on yesterday. Now, LSU, they reeled off 6 wins in a row. They lost the first game and lost last week, so they reeled off 6 wins in a row. In those 6 wins, they beat a ranked opponent, Ole Miss. They beat Arkansas. I don't think Arkansas was ranked at the time. They beat South Carolina. Those are the teams they beat in the SEC. You might say, well, Alabama have the better quality wins, or they have a win over the Georgia Bulldogs. But we also have a loss against Vanderbilt, okay? And Vanderbilt was unranked at that time. But Alabama do have wins over Georgia, South Carolina, and Missouri. All right, Georgia and Missouri was ranked at the time. So you might consider, you might say Alabama got a better strength of schedule or whatever. But as of right now, I got them tied. Alabama, both of their losses was by single digits. LSU lost, one by single digits, one by double digits, which was last week against Texas A&M. But Texas A&M is one of the best teams in college football. Not only the SEC, but college football, in my opinion. So I'm going to keep these two teams tied at number 5 for right now. But we know after they play, it's going to be different. Somebody is going to fall out my top 5 rankings. One of these 2 teams. But moving on. Okay, well, LSU, Alabama at number 5. At number 4, I got the Tennessee Volunteers. Even though Tennessee is not, their offense is kind of sputtering right now, they are still winning. Their defense is stepping up. Their defense keep them in the game until their offense can get it going. Tennessee right now got 1 loss, and that's to Arkansas, only by 5 points. I don't know how they lost to Arkansas, but hey, they did. They got a win over my Alabama Crimson Tide. Florida, they took them to overtime. All right, but they pulled it out. They got a win over Oklahoma. Oklahoma was ranked when Texas played them and beat them. My Alabama Crimson Tide was ranked. So, hey, Tennessee is doing their thing. I think they deserve the 4th spot in the SEC. Now, they do have to play Georgia. So, they can move up in my top 5 rankings, or they can move down. All right, so, hey, it is what it is. Tennessee still got everything in front of them. Tennessee still can make the playoffs. And I believe if they lose against Georgia, I still think they can make the playoff. All right. Georgia, we already know a lot of people consider them the best team in the country. So we'll see what Tennessee falls, or if they fall at all. But I tell you, if they beat Georgia, they going up in my rankings, my top 5, and the AP poll, the coaches poll, and every other poll, they'll shoot up. I think Tennessee right now is ranked number 7, but they ranked number 4 in my SEC top 5. At number 3, I got those Texas Longhorns, who's coming in with what? Only 1 loss, and that loss is to who? Who did Texas lose to? I believe they lost to those Georgia Bulldogs. Those Georgia Bulldogs. And I believe those Georgia Bulldogs beat them mighty handily by a score of 30-15. All right, that's their only loss. Texas, they got wins over Mississippi State, that's not a good win. They blew out Oklahoma. They got a win over the defending national champions, Michigan Wolverines. Texas, they still got to play those Florida Gators. They got to play Arkansas, and they got to go to Kyle Field and face those Texas A&M Aggies, which is playing really good football now. Now, if Texas A&M can go into Kyle Field and beat Texas A&M the way they playing now, then yes, they probably will be one or two in the SEC, in my SEC rankings. I don't know where they got Texas ranked right now. I believe it's like I don't know. I don't know what Texas ranked right now. But they'll move up in my top 5 if they can go down, if they continue to win and then go down to Kyle Field and beat Texas A&M. They'll move up to 1 or 2 in my book. This is just my book. Like I say, I don't know where they rank now, being that they lost to the Georgia Bulldogs. They just beat Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is not a bad team this year. Texas just beat them, although it was by only 3 points. That's a win. Guess what? And it's a SEC win. So, as of right now, 1, 2, they got three SEC wins and a win over the defending national champion Michigan Wolverines, even though we know Michigan ain't as good as they was last season. Still a win. But I got Texas at number 3 in my top 5 SEC rankings. And at number 2, Texas A&M. Texas A&M, I feel, is playing some of the most complete football in the SEC, really, in the country. That's just me. Texas A&M, 7-1 overall, 5-0 in the SEC. They stands at the top of the SEC with 0 losses. All right, some might say I should have them at number 1, being that they ain't lost in the SEC. No, I can't do that. I can't do that. Now, Texas A&M got wins over Florida, Arkansas, Missouri, which they blew Missouri out, Mississippi State, LSU. They got the most SEC wins. Yes. Man, they doing their thing, man. Mississippi State beat them by 10. LSU beat them by 15. Missouri beat them by 31. Arkansas, only 4 points, beat them by 4. And Florida Gators, they beat them by 10, and they got to win. Their only loss is out of conference against Notre Dame. So it's a debate on if Tennessee is not Tennessee, but if Texas A&M is the best team in the SEC. It's a debate between them and those Georgia Bulldogs. I know Georgia got a loss, but anyway, Texas A&M is my number 2 team in the SEC, but that's up for debate. And at number 1, the Georgia Bulldogs. All right, Georgia, they had a hiccup with my Alabama Crimson Tide, but Georgia is playing some damn good football. They got wins over those Texas Longhorns, I believe Texas was the number 1 team at the time. And Georgia beat them by double digits. They beat Mississippi State by double digits. They beat Auburn by double digits. They did have a slow game, close game against Kentucky, which they only won by a point. And then, they lost to us. But Georgia, I think, as of right now, they are the best team in the SEC, especially the way they dominated those Texas Longhorns. They dominated Texas from start to finish. The score don't tell the story. The score, if you go by the score or you look at the game, you would think the score should be, more than what it is. Georgia should have scored more points. Now, I can tell you, if Carson Beck can get his shit together and stop throwing these interceptions, Georgia will have a hellified offense. But that offense goes with Carson Beck. The defense, they showed what they could be. And against Texas, they looked like they could be the #1 defense in the country. But they got to do that consistently. And the way they dominated Texas, that's why I put them as #1 in the SEC. Because they look like the #1 team in the SEC against Texas. But they got to do that consistently. All right. They got to play these Florida Gators this week. So if they look mediocre against the Florida Gators, then I might drop them down and put Texas A&M above them, according to how Texas A&M looked this week. So, but that's my top 5 SEC rankings after week 9. I got a tie at number 5 between my Alabama Crimson Tide and LSU. At number 4, I got Tennessee. At number 3, I got the Texas Longhorns. At number 2, Texas A&M Aggies. And at number 1, the Georgia Bulldogs. And that's my top 5 SEC rankings after week 9. If you agree with it, let me know. If you don't agree with it, let me know and tell me why you don't agree with it. All right? But y'all remember to be blessed. And KB don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide and roll damn Tide.